Welcome to the CoDaKrew podcast, Magic 10 predictions for the Premier League. Our scores from last episode, as well as our scoring system, are on screen now, with Swabno holding an 80 to 74 lead. With that being said, let's get started with Brighton vs Leeds.
Yeah, Brighton have been decent in attack this season, but I'm really concerned about the defense, particularly after that United game. High pressing from guys like Shaw caused them some real issues. Verbruggen needed some big saves too against Mbuemo Fernandez, I think. And then you look at the third United goal too, where they were still chasing a goal, Brighton, around the 60th minute, left loads of space in the back from Mbuemo. And I just feel like the way they play so desperately for goals when they get behind like this is a real issue, and they need to keep the back line tight for longer so they don't have to go chasing like this.
Yeah, well, I think the main issue, the reason why their backline is so exposed, is because Hertzler is just way too, I would say, stubborn with his tactics. Brighton only know how to play from the back when they go up against a high pressing team, and when they're missing key guys like Henshelwood, who are crucial in doing that transition. You're obviously going to be caught out. You're going to have counterattacks where you're missing players, and people are going to be able to take advantage of you. I think the main issue right now is when Brighton don't have the personnel to play their system with all their injuries, and they're too stubborn to do anything about it.
Yeah, and I mean they can create quality chances. They have guys like Welbeck, Minte, Matoma might finally be back. Lord knows when he's showing up. But again, I think like before they can even worry about the attack, they just have to keep the goals out to start off the game. They can't go behind so quickly and so easily.
Yeah, no, I think that was like a massive concern there. I think Brighton, basically, like from the very beginning, they were absolutely concessionary. I think a big issue, by the way, that Manchester United have throughout the whole season is they always start very well and they often are unable to convert in the early minutes. And Brighton honestly were able to get back into the game, and I would say until that actual first goal from United, they look pretty solid. But like you're saying, as soon as they concede, they're just not able to find a way back to the game.
Yeah. I want to go to Leeds, who I think their main issues actually are in attack. And like we said last episode, it is that inconsistency in finishing. In that last match, the first half was good for Leeds against West Ham, but they were struggling in the second half to convert chances, despite having quite good opportunities. Like, they have players like Aronson, Okafor, that let them create openings, but they just waste those chances so often. And they've been really inconsistent this season, and I guess for them, until they fix their finishing, they are going to struggle to build a consistent run of form, I feel like.
Yeah, and part of that I would still say comes from, missing Nanto for long parts of the season. And like you're saying, inconsistency in the scoring. But I will say Brighton, or not Brighton, Leeds has been able to stay in the game, I think, largely because they have basically utilized like the Arsenal strategy. Set pieces, corners, get the ball to Rondon, let him header it, or Stock or Longstaff or whoever, just taking long shots. But I think that when that's like the only way you can score, essentially, that's not sustainable in the long term. And I think very soon we're going to see this become an increasing problem for Leeds.
Yeah, and even against a team like Brighton that has defensive issues to address, like we just talked about, I just feel like that lack of clinical edge is really going to kill them over this season. And I know I think we both had them staying up when we did our predictions at the start of the season. Of course, Sunderland is like way good right now, and Burnley's down in the dumps. But Leeds, it's looking, I feel like, kind of questionable now whether they stay up or not if they keep up this form.
Yeah, I think I said recently, I don't see them staying up, honestly, because you have to have, and this is honestly one of the things we were talking about when we made our initial prime predictions. You have to have somebody who's able to get the goals in. And that was supposed to be Wilfred Gnonto. I think he scored 19 in the championship last season. But even when he has been healthy, we haven't seen it yet from him. And I think the Leeds don't really have another guy like that that can uh, basically be that finisher. You have players like Tanaka that can play transition, put in balls behind. Obviously, as I was saying, you have the defensive solidity in players like Anton Stock, but there just isn't that guy. I would say like Brendan Aronson has been doing it. Uh, Nanto hasn't been doing it. I just think this is going to just be an increasing issue for Leeds.
Yeah, I just think that the finishing issues are just such a huge obstacle. And, like, despite their ability to create chances, that inability to capitalize remains their Achilles heel. And Brighton, while they have their problems with the back line, they've just been better at creating like clear cut chances. And I think both sides are going to have similar possession here, so the difference will be in how they manage their time on the ball. And Brighton, I just expect to be more clinical in key moments, and Leeds, who are, to be fair, decent in defense, they won't be able to hold the fort for a whole match. And I think Brighton, they're going to take the win, and I'm going to give them a 2-1 here.
Yeah, I'm also going to give them a 2-1. I would say a few things, right? Obviously, earlier in the season, I was very concerned about Danny Welbeck's finishing, but he's definitely come back. I think he scored like 2 goals in the last 3 Prem games, including that incredible free kick for Brighton's first goal against Manchester United. And obviously, you also have Binte, rather they did not have great games against Man United, but we know that they have consistency. I expect them to bounce back. And yeah, even though Brighton haven't been on the best form as of recent, they should be able to pick up a win here at home.
Yeah, okay. Then I guess we go to our next match, and after going full park the bus a few weeks ago against earlier Prem leaders Liverpool, maybe Burnley will see a similar showing as they host the current leaders Arsenal.
We'll see. The interesting thing about Burnley is I don't know if you still have them getting relegated. I do, but they are technically on a 2-game win streak, and I feel like we're starting to see them rely a little bit less on just having Josh Cullen as the only chance creator, Jaden Anthony is the only finisher. Obviously, we had Zion Fleming have a great game. He really stepped up against Wolves, and I think it's a little too early to tell, but perhaps we're finally seeing Burnley start to have a diversity of attacking options.
Yeah, I think it was his first ever Prem goals for Fleming, so that is great. A brace to start off. Foster, of course, to finish off the game. But I think a bit like Brighton, Burnley's defense has looked leaky. They've conceded multiple goals in their past few matches. Even if they were at the Molineux, letting up 2 against this season's Wolves is something. So I think like for them, they just have to tighten up defensively. Against Arsenal's attack, it's going to be very difficult. They have to limit guys like Rice in midfield. Gyökeres, stop him from getting in behind. And unfortunately, because of that, I don't think they're going to do much attacking.
Yeah, I agree. They're obviously going to park the bus. They're at home, and they're going to try to utilize that to their advantage. But the issue is, Arsenal is a team who they haven't been playing very well recently, I would say, but they've been able to win every game anyways. What they remind me is Slot's Liverpool last year, incredibly defensively consistent, and even if they just get a few chances, they have so many players on the field that are just absolute quality. You know, Eze, Saka, Martinelli is having a good year. I think he's out, but like Trossard as well. Uh, I think just as long as they're able to get a few opportunities, and as long as they have those quality players, I just don't think Burnley is going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more about Arsenal, honestly. Despite the attacking being a bit unconvincing against Palace, that back two of like Saliba, Gabriel has just been rock solid. They're pretty complementary in their roles, and then like they along with the other fullbacks, Timber, Calafiori, they've supported the attack when needed, which makes Arsenal a lot more flexible in keeping up that offensive pressure and really pinning teams back. I think Arteta should be confident that even if the attacking showing isn't super strong, his team can maintain their structure, they'll control possession, especially against this Burnley side that's been way too keen to give up the ball lately. And they'll have no problems finding their chances, just because they'll have no problems keeping the ball at their feet.
Yeah, for context, this is an Arsenal squad who in their last 3 Prem games conceded 1 shot on target, right? So I think like the analogy for Arsenal and why I'm so confident that they're going to be able to continue winning games despite this lackluster performance because they are like the polar opposites of how Liverpool was playing at the start of the season. They were also winning games by a goal, but they won not because of defensive solidity, but because their offense is just so good. But when you have defensive solidity instead, I think that's a lot more. It's a lot more easy to be consistent, and especially when you consider how Arsenal is able to get goals, not just through star power, but also through the dark arts, through Haram ball. Set pieces, corner, Gabriel header, right? There's nothing you can really do about that. So if Arsenal can have a terrible game, just basically park the bus for whatever reason, despite playing a much weaker team, not create any real opportunities, the fact they can just still score anyways off a corner, I just don't see how you stop this squad.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal, they will focus heavily on set pieces. 11 of their 16 goals in the league, by the way. That's almost 70% from set pieces. That's how much they've scored this season.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's an insane percentage. And I know, like, Burnley, they can do quick transitions, long balls.
Do you know how far off Gabriel is from the Golden Boot race?
That's a great question, actually, bro.
Like
It's
I don't
the fact that
understand this
the fact that we're
mindset.
talking about Gabriel too. Just think about that. Not Gyökeres here. This is Gabriel we're looking at as well.
Yeah, speaking of Gyökeres, we don't talk about him, but
Let's not worry
I think
about the
Gabriel might have more goals so far in the
Maybe,
league.
he
I'm
probably
gonna have to
does.
get a fact check on that one.
He
But
probably does. It's like Burnley, they can play for the counter, but come on, it's Arsenal they're playing. We know who is going to be piling on the pressure this match. They will have a commanding presence. They should be confident in their defense so that the attack does not have to worry too much. They can just take their chances whenever they get them. And I think it'll be a commanding game, a 2-0 win for them.
I was tempted to go 1-0 just because Arsenal have been basically 1-0 merchants in the Prem recently. That's like their shitty, as a incredible half volley finish or Gabriel header, whatever it is. But I think just the fact that this is Burnley, this is this team who I think save Josh Cullen. I think the midfield has not been good enough, and like you're saying, the backline has been so lackluster. I think even Arsenal on this form and with all of their midfield injuries should still be able to get 2 goals. So I'm once again agreeing with you. 2-0 win for Arsenal.
Okay, fair enough. Let's hope our scoreline split up a bit with this next game. Two teams coming in with pretty decent, different recent performances. Palace, like I said in a previous episode, I thought they'd start to falter. They kind of have here. And now they're hosting a team just starting to find their form with Brentford.
Yet another team, by the way, in Brentford, like Leeds, like Arsenal, that have really imbued themselves in the dark arts. Now, the thing about Brentford is that they are also actually capable of scoring good goals off the counter because Kevin Schade, Igor Thiago, there's just so much pace on that squad. You have guys like I know Yarmolenko is injured right now, but Henderson incredible at putting in through balls in transition. Mikhail Damsgaard as well. But man, those throw-ins, the long throw-ins by Coyote, is causing absolute chaos in the box. That was their first goal against Liverpool. They've utilized that tactic so much, and I mean it's another case where like it or not, this is the evolution of the Premier League. This is the evolution of how like mid-table or lower mid-table teams compete, and they could easily do it again against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a direct, high energy style. Like you said, ability to exploit long throws, quick transitions. And with just the losses they had in their front line before the season, losing Mbeumo, losing Wissa, and the players that they did keep, these tactics have worked really well for them. It is like a perfect approach, I think, for the roster that they've got. Schade, Ouattara, key figures in their forward line. You have like Damsgaard for intelligent passing. You have creates opportunities for good fast breaks. And they can really, like Palace, I think, capitalize on defensive lapses. They have been prone to conceding goals a bit late in matches. But just generally, like they're able to score. They're able to get ahead in these games, like they did against Liverpool. And I think I can expect quite a few goals against Palace too. Or have good chances.
Also, by the way, to their advantage, they got to play Grimsby Town in the Carabao Cup. Complete rotation. I think they won like 5-0 or something.
Yeah.
Whereas Crystal Palace had to play Liverpool. And I know Liverpool did not take that game the most seriously, but Palace did. I think they still, there were still some guys like Wharton, Mateta, I don't think played. But they did a lot less rotating, and I think you definitely do have to consider this is a Crystal Palace that has been slipping in form as of recent, although I still think they haven't lost a match at home since February. I think that's still true.
Yeah, that's true.
And this game is at home, by the way. But they're going to be coming in with a little bit of disadvantage. Morale is probably not the greatest right now. And also, you got to say, Mateta, even though he didn't play, I'm still a little bit concerned about him because it's really odd to say this about like a striker that has scored 5 goals already in the Premier League, 9 games in. But I feel like his finishing has been on a downgrade this year.
Yeah, besides that hat-trick match. And even if you look at the hat-trick match, like we said earlier, he could have had 5-6 goals in that game. Just off the chances that he had. I mean, you look at that. I
know XG is not the end-all be-all, but I think he's still, despite scoring a hat-trick, he undershot his XG.
Yeah. I mean, Palace, like Brentford with their style, really do rely on those quick transitions through guys like Sarr, Mateta for their attack. The counter has done them well in lots of games, like we see those win streaks they've had, but it can be a weakness too. They don't keep possession for long spells against top teams, as seen in that last game, or even in the Liverpool game a month ago. And so when a team like Arsenal, who just played them, dominates possession and they can keep high defensive pressure to pin Palace back, Palace just cannot find the time to actually transition. from defense to attack. And so they're restricted to like long balls and half chances. And I do think they'll be better off against Brentford, but it is a concern that they can be contained so completely.
I think that's a fair point. I would say that part of that has been from the fullbacks. I think Daniel Munoz has been on a little bit of a decline this season as well. But yeah, those long balls are still extremely deadly. Adam Morton especially has essentially really stepped up and I think become pretty much like a conductor for Palace's entire offense. And I would also say not only is that like a good match against the way Brentford play defensively, but also the fact that they're so defensively solid, Palace here, that back three is one of the best in the Prem. Their fullbacks are absolutely willing to track back. So are their double pivots. I think it's going to be very tough for Brentford to take advantage of counters the way they would usually do against other teams.
Yeah, okay, fair. I mean, Palace, they have that defensive solidity. Their structure is great. They are struggling a bit to be consistently dangerous going forward, like not so much as they have previously, except maybe that Bournemouth game. But to be fair, that was a 3-3 for each team. And as for Brentford, they're usually shit away from home, but their form has been a bit better as of recent. I can see both these teams getting a good few chances on goal. It's hard to separate them with both of them set up to like frustrate and strike on the break. But Palace are at home, and Brentford are 1-3 away so far this season, so I have to hand it to Palace, and I'll give them a 2-1.
I'm also going to give this to Palace. I would just say, I know they haven't been on the greatest of form recently, but they are just such a hard team to play at Selhurst Park. We know the quality that they have. Their players are basically at full strength right now. I think that they're going to be able to showcase a result here. The tactics set up so perfectly here. I expect Adam Morton to have a big game, and I expect the attackers to show up. So I think even though Brentford can easily just get like a set piece, throw in, corner, whatever it is, goal, I think Palace are going to dominate, and I'm going to give them a 3-1 win.
Okay, yeah. We can go to our next match then. We have Fulham facing Wolves at Craven Cottage, and both teams will be looking to cut off a losing streak with a win here.
This is quite interesting. So I did have to change my prediction last minute. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but Raul Jimenez being injured during the Carabao Cup match against Wickham is going to be a big loss for this Fulham squad because they are already not a team that has perhaps the most attacking options. Obviously, I think Josh King has been very solid, one of the best wonder kids in the Premier League for sure this season in terms of chance creation. But I think they are another one of those teams who sometimes have some problems with finishing, and obviously as well, losing Anthony Robinson rather, and having to play Sessegnon long term. I think this Fulham squad has definitely regressed as a whole compared to last season.
Yeah, and I agree with you. The finishing is a problem. They've been struggling even to just create meaningful chances, despite having some good attackers. The likes of Jimenez and now Kevin have looked isolated. Lukic's goal against Newcastle was a bright spot because it shows that there are other players that can contribute to the scoring. But I don't know that they can rely on just the midfield.
Not Sash Lukic, though, not really known for his finishing abilities.
Exactly. So if they're going to get the edge, maybe not against Wolves, but certainly against teams higher up the table, Silva's side here, they need to improve their delivery into the final third. They need to get better chances for their actual attackers.
The thing is, though, we do have to consider they are at home and they are playing, so far at least, by far the worst team in the Premier League. Yeah. Like, the threshold to beat Wolves right now is clearly not that high, especially if you're at home. And all Fulham have to do, really, if we're just going to be honest, is like not completely shit the bed and put in a few decent chances.
Right, because I mean, you look at Wolves, their chances of survival this season are just slipping away so quickly. It's honestly hard to say where to start with this team. They have a big lack of dynamism in attack. Strand Larson has been ghosting for ages, and even if you consider the pen an improvement for him, Wolves still don't have a single player with more than one goal. And they keep giving up leads. They went from a 2-0 to a 2-3 at home against Burnley. Just lost a game to Chelsea in a very similar way in the Cup. And I just feel like Pereira's tactical approach is not delivering, nor are the players. And it's really hard to envision this team staying up without a drastic turnaround very soon.
I will say, this is like a very odd thing about Wolves' tactics. Strand Larson is essentially playing like a false nine right now, for whatever reason, and nobody around him is really stepping up. Like, that is a thing that Voltamade can do because he is a great distributor, and his team and the other attackers around him have great finishing ability, technical ability, creativity. The issue is Strand Larson does not, I would say, have elite distribution, and his teammates are absolute dog shit right now. So I don't understand this tactical system. I would rather, honestly, Wolves just like stick him up front, leave him isolated, and just try to, I don't know, get crosses or through balls behind him because this is just not working.
Yeah, I don't know what to say tactics wise. I mean, Fulham, they're at home. They're probably going to dominate possession. Ultimate goal is to, I guess, find some goals for their attackers up front. Unfortunate that they don't have Jimenez. Um, but like as for Wolves, what are they going to do? They have like no goals at all from open play. No goals generally. Um, if
Wait,
maybe
no,
if
zero goals from open play?
no, I think okay, that last game they had one goal from open play, but just generally they have a lot of trouble scoring from open
Oh,
play,
okay, yeah.
just creating chances, even in the cup games. Like if Fulham can't score early, maybe they find some opportunities for themselves, but there's just like no energy in this team. No energy I'm seeing from the manager. I think like the team's just fallen flat, and Fulham, despite their own issues, they can very much take advantage of that lack of confidence. They're not in top form, but I don't think they'll have too much difficulty. I'll call it a 2-1 for them.
Okay. By the way, you said that Wolves are essentially out of it. They're like really letting their survival odds slip away, which I
Yeah.
agree with. I just took a look at Opta's supercomputer. I want to remind you, according to Opta, well, two things. One, they are extremely accurate. They are more accurate than even like most betting sites. And also, they had the three teams that got promoted as the three teams getting relegated at the start of the
Right.
season. Do you want to guess what their odds are of Wolves getting relegated right now?
Odds of them getting relegated. I'll give it a 99.9.
Okay.
Okay, but yeah,
it's an
like I
82%
don't know,
chance right now.
80.
So
Okay,
like, it's really bad. It's extremely down bad for Wolves right now. And I would say I said at the beginning that I changed my prediction because Jimenez is out. I originally had a 2-0 for Fulham. I'm gonna go with a Fulham 1-0 win because this Wolves team is too shit to score goals away from home.
yeah, maybe less scoring, but I think Wolves are not gonna find much. I have a one goal for them, just because like it's margin play with the 1-0, but I don't see that much attacking coming from Wolves to be honest. I guess then we can go to Forest. They're hoping for a fresh start with their new manager, Sean Dyche, but they will face a formidable opponent in a team that has already gotten their upstart. We've seen it in the last few games. Man United and Ruben Amorim.
I remember there was a question. I can't remember who this was from, so I can't attribute this properly. There was a tweet from the start of the season, and the question at the time was, which team will be the Nottingham of this season, and which team will be the Man United of this season? Basically, with regards to last season, how Nottingham completely overperformed expectations, Man United completely underperformed expectations, and the number one answer at the time was the Nottingham of this season will be Man United, and the Man
And
United of
Man
this
United
season
will
will be
be
Nottingham.
Nottingham.
And
Yeah.
that is what we have seen so far. United obviously starting very terribly in the first two games. Amarin out was a question that was really getting posed on the minds. He was at one point the most likely manager next to be sacked until Ange Postecoglou came around, and I would say the biggest reason why Man United were not performing well at the very beginning was their front three was not yet adjusting to the system. Benjamin Chesko in particular, I don't think even got to play a single friendly by the time he was signed, and we really saw Embuemo and Cunha taking a little bit of time to adjust to the system. So that was basically what I just described is the number one reason why people were saying Amrin should be sacked. To give ourselves credit, we never said that. We've always been very consistent. And you can go back to the previous episodes if you don't believe us. We have been very consistent in saying that Amrin should not be sacked this season. And I would say it's becoming apparent now because now that the front three has really integrated, now that Mbemo and Cunha in particular are really starting to show their scoring capabilities, Cunha scoring his first goal in the last game, and I think him also just being an incredible distributor in general. Man United is just good now, honestly. They're not just winning games, they dominated Brighton. They dominated Sunderland, who have been performing much better than everyone expected, and they were able to get a solid win against Liverpool as well.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say. They found that spark. And as for Forest, they showed a lot of that spark that Ange was looking for in their Europa game, and I thought, oh, maybe that'll transfer over a bit into the league. I would say it did not. Against Bournemouth, they barely created any significant chances. Gibbs White's effort was like the only real test for the goalkeeper. I still
That is not Sean Dyche's. That is not Sean Dyche's game. To be fair,
That's also fair. Yeah. So it's kind
this
of hard to
Nottingham
say
team
with
is
them.
on. This Nottingham team, to be very clear, is on survival mode. Their goal this season is to not get relegated at this point.
Right. I think they still haven't a strong enough roster such that like they shouldn't need individual like flashes just to have a chance at a win. Like they have good attackers here. They can make something cohesive. But then again, right now they have injury problems. They'll have them in this game. No Zinchenko, no Aina, probably no Chris Wood. And given the poor showing from the remaining players in their last match, I think they will struggle to impose themselves on a Man U team that is in much better form and has just much better cohesion than Forest does.
Not having Ola Aina or Zinchenko is a big problem when you consider how important defensive fullbacks are to Sean Dyche's system. He's been dealt a really bad hand. Obviously, Chris Wood as well is a huge loss to Nottingham's offensive capabilities, and someone needs to step up, man, because like it was players like Gibbs White, I would say, players like shoot, oh my goodness, I always forget this one guy. I feel like two or three
Ndoye?
episodes in a row.
Ndoye?
I keep forgetting about Dan Ndoye for some reason. I don't know why. I just keep thinking about Anthony Elanga, but obviously he's gone.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah, none of them are stepping up. Like last season, I think a big hallmark was like Chris Wood was incredible, obviously, but he freed up space and he made everybody else look better. Like this is a common theme that I talk about all the time, but it's like Chris Wood was the Kawhi Leonard of that squad. He made Pascal Siakam and Kyle Lowry look so damn good, but with him gone, like the offense just feels fraudulent at this point.
Yeah, I think Forest, they're in just such a tough place right now. They're not even that bad on defense. They do still have that Morello Milinkovic pairing, but they are really poor with the front line right now. The injuries are not doing them any favors. Like you said, they don't have that guy to find goals for them. We have a lot of players here who are great at making chances, getting assists, but like Chris Wood's gone. He was their scorer. And I think it'll be like, I don't think they'll find a guy in this game that can step up to take his place for the time that he's gone. And like, Man U have just looked good all around. I think they'll do a good job of exploiting Forest's defensive weaknesses. And I don't think Forest will get many chances on the other end. So I think United continue their solid run of form, and I'll give them a 2-0 win.
I've got to say, well, yeah, look, it's going to be very tough for Nottingham to score in this game because one, their attackers have not been great. Two, United's defense this season has taken a big upgrade, especially with De Ligt essentially becoming like a second captain for the squad. Um, he's basically been anchoring. Like almost he's almost been like a trainer for Euro and Luke Shaw, making them better as well. And of course, Shane Lamens needs to be incredible. You wouldn't be able to tell from the scoreline, but he was still really good against Brighton. I think Brighton could have definitely scored a few more goals if he was not in net. Though obviously, as you said earlier, same thing can be said about Verbruggen, to be fair. But my point is, when you look at the squad, you look at the attack is getting better and better. They were able to score 4 against Brighton. Should have been 5. Ahmed penalty not called. They're gonna have no problems, I think, against this Nottingham defense. So I'm also gonna go for 2-0 win for United.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. And we come to now what I think will probably be the match that we have in the thumbnail and the title of this video. It is a big London derby. Tottenham hosting Chelsea. Both sides striving to keep themselves in the European places, prove themselves among the league's best.
Yeah. I'm not so sure we're gonna make that the title. I'll talk to you about that in the post, but this is obviously, I think, one of the most interesting matches that we've seen so far. That we're going to see so far in the Premier League, especially in the battle for European places, because this is a Tottenham team that somehow, some way, despite having all the injuries they have, they have to do all the rotating that they have just been so defensively solid. They've almost been like an Arsenal, slightly worse Arsenal team, with how reliant they are on set pieces, although they obviously still have other guys like Kudos, like, Simmons, who can obviously, put in some good open play opportunities. But they have really just gone on and become a team that just relies on the fundamentals. And it is working, to be fair.
Yeah, I think with Frank at the helm, it's inevitable that we did eventually start to see set pieces make the difference in games. Two headers off corners from Van de Ven, and I think he now leads the team's scoring despite being a center back. It's very interesting. But
Insane.
yeah,
Usually, when a center back, usually in every other Premier League team right now, where a center back has the most goals, where center backs are getting a concerning amount of the goals, the team is underperforming.
right.
I wouldn't say Arsenal, maybe besides Arsenal, but I wouldn't even say that this is concerning at all, because this has obviously been the game plan since last year. So, everything's going according to plan there. Uh, the Tottenham team just manages to make it work, man. And honestly, the question I have, because I think they're like, what, third in the table right now? If they're playing like this, right, with no Solanke, with a starting 11 of injuries that are holding them back, when all those players come back in like January and later into the season, man, how good is this Tottenham team gonna be? What is their potential?
Yeah, I mean, like, for now, because they are relying on those set pieces and counterattacking, it could turn out problematic against this Chelsea side who are good at controlling possession. And it's maybe a bit unfortunate that those injuries you talked about are still the case right now. But yeah, I'm just thinking if they can show up relatively soon, Tottenham, they can, like, once they wear out this strategy they've got going now, they can make changes. And I think they have the potential to do very well throughout this season. European places are very much in the cards for them.
I do think on the flip side, though, yes, Chelsea are typically dominant in the midfield, and I think that could definitely be an advantage here. There are definitely some warning signs because they have some key injuries in the midfield already. Cole Palmer as well still being out. João Pedro, I think, has definitely been on a bit of a downside as of recent. Definitely overshadowed by some other downsides that some other players on some other teams are having. But João Pedro has quietly been pretty bad as of recent. And even Moises Caicedo, I would say, in that match against Sunderland, he just got absolutely outclassed by Xhaka. I thought Chelsea would just easily dominate the midfield in that match, especially without Habib Diarra out. But with all those injuries that Chelsea, to be fair, is getting as well, I'm not so confident that they will be able to win the midfield battle in this match.
Yeah, I think the defense too has shown some vulnerability when they face like high intensity pressing
I
or
mean, when
quick
you have like five
counterattacks.
center backs injured, what are you gonna do, right?
Right, exactly. Like who's gone right now in that back line?
Just from what I
They,
can remember, Badia Chile, Levi Colwell is out.
right.
Um,
Chalaba I think is still there,
Chalaba,
yes, but then they don't have
Chalobah's
that
here.
pairing.
I think
Yeah,
Achenpom is out as well,
right.
and then Hado I think might also be out. So
Yeah.
Hado, I know he's a left back, but it's been so bad that they've had to play him as a center back before he got
Right, and
injured.
now
So
he's gone as well. So it's not great. I don't know what they can do here. It's just Chelsea have been like both these teams have kind of injury crises that they're in right now, but Tottenham have just found like seemingly the optimal strategy with the players that they have, and Chelsea have not, and I don't know that they're going to find those best tactics in this particular game. So I think it'll be a hard fought game, but Tottenham, they can lean heavily on that set piece threat. They've very much shown their ability to score from dead balls. And Chelsea, like, they'll try as their best to control the tempo. I think maybe these teams probably split the possession, but Tottenham will make the most of those like seemingly small chances. And it's whew, tough to pick an exact scoreline here. I think originally I had a draw, but kind of just looking at the rosters we've got, I'm gonna say it's a
what does
2-1
it
for
say on the
Tottenham.
doc? What does it say on the doc?
I know, but you updated one
What
of
does
your
it say?
scores, right? I feel like I
No, but
deserve a.
before the episode started, I updated.
Okay, fine. 2-2 draw. I keep it to that
I
then.
meant to say I updated it like a few hours ago because we're recording after the Carabao Cup round.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
What is your prediction?
Two
What
two
is
two
your
two. I
what
know.
is the
Yeah,
prediction?
2-2
2-2?
draw.
Okay,
That's
all
fine.
right,
Yeah.
fair
All right.
enough. Um, I've basically gone in the polar opposite direction, and I'm glad I might be getting points on a technicality here because I freaking need it, man. Uh, this Chelsea squad has been so inconsistent recently, and I just don't see how Tottenham can be stopped right now. I think with the way their midfields have been playing as of recent, with all the injuries they're having, I honestly just don't see a lot of chances for either team. Like it's gonna be one of those. It's gonna be one of those London derbies where like there's more like fouls going on than chances created. There could be more yellow cards than shots. And I would say in that situation, it will be a single Tottenham set piece that wins this game, and they're going to win 1-0.
1-0. Okay, well. I mean, if I had gone
So
2-1,
this
I guess
feels
I would have
like
shared margin points with you, but
yeah,
that's unfortunate for me.
but you can't. But you can't.
Yeah,
Them's the
but if
rules.
it's 1-1 draw, I guess I get two. So
This
sometimes
is
the
yeah.
draw is not a bad play. Yeah,
We'll see. This does feel like, Paraguay vs Bolivia potentially.
oh, right.
That's
those
kind of the vibe.
those
I'm getting.
CONMEBOL qualifier games.
Like this,
Yeah.
this could just become a complete brawl.
Okay. Yeah, but still low scoring. You think? Honestly,
Yeah.
not
So,
even
well,
not
I mean,
even
if it's, I
unreasonable.
mean, if they're playing UFC and not football, then how many goals can there be?
Right. Right. Okay. Next game, two teams each with 15 points, but one is on 4 losses, the other is on 4 wins. It is Liverpool versus Aston Villa at Anfield. What can the Reds do here?
Every time we talk about Liverpool, I always let you start because this is your team.
Right.
But I want to give some context to the viewers, yeah? So, 5 Prem games lost in a row? Am I correct in that?
It is 5 now, yes.
5. 6 losses out of 7 recently.
Right. Because Frankfurt
Allison is still
besides
injured.
that, yeah.
Allison is injured. Isak is injured. Frimpong is injured.
Frimpong is injured half this season, bro. This is just,
Okay,
I feel
fair
like
enough.
expected now. Yeah.
Fair enough, but he is your replacement for Trent. To be fair, so
Right.
you do.
That
you
is,
do
it
expect
is a
him to-
concern. It is a concern, yes.
Yeah, I mean the straits are dire for Liverpool, man. You tell me. I honestly, I want to actually ask you one thing first before we even talk about the game. Are Liverpool still in the can Liverpool still win the league at this point?
I mean, I feel like we have a strong enough roster that it's always a possibility, but I think even like 2 or 3 more games in this form and we're done. We have a shot. We spent like a couple £100 million. I think we always have, like, we definitely have a shot.
Yeah,
We're
more
not
than a couple hundred, but yeah.
right, but it's like you said, it's not looking good. Very dire right now. I don't know. It's our longest losing streak, or tied for our longest losing streak since the Prem began in what, like 91 or 92. And again, I feel like it's the same problems every time. It's a lack of cohesion in the back, fullbacks struggling to cope against like pacey wingers and balls played in behind. And in this Brentford game, we were exposed on both fronts defensively. Quick breaks and open play, poorly defended set pieces, both leading to goals. And like I think our team is pretty well built for scoring, but we wouldn't need to just keep firing away goals if we didn't keep giving them up so easily. So I still think the back line is easily the weakest link here. Still our biggest issue for sure.
I will say, you said 2 or 3 games. If Liverpool loses, they're out. I think that's generous because Arsenal are 7 points ahead.
And they're on good form. They're on damn good form.
on
That's
good
the other
form.
thing. Yeah.
City are also ahead of you, by the way, right now, and they can easily turn on the gear because we know how the City squad is.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think the stakes are here. But if Liverpool don't win this game, I think the league is over. I don't think you can win the league if you guys lose this game, because again, this is literally like Arsenal is playing Burnley. With all due respect to Burnley, that is a guaranteed 3 points. So if you lose this game, that is a 10-point gap. If you draw a 9-point gap, and I think the biggest gap ever, correct me if I'm wrong, that has been overcome in Premier League history to win a title was 12, and that 12 points conceded was with a Newcastle squad that was very young, and the team that was able to eventually catch up to them was Alex Ferguson's United. So I just don't see it happening if Liverpool don't win this game.
Yeah. Okay. It's not unreasonable. And Villa, like I said at the start, they're on much better form. They've found strong form now under Emery. Sitting comfortably in the top half of the table. Only a 1-0 win in their last game, but it's nil. A clean
Against Man
sheet.
City. Against Man City.
That's what I was going to say.
Let's
A
not,
clean
come on.
sheet against Man City is enormous, not to let like Holland score. The defensive setup has been solid. Rock solid partnership at the back with like Torres and Konsa. And Matty Cash's offensive contributions have been very key in these last few games. It's interesting to see he's kind of had a resurgence here. Um, I think like Villa, they just need to try and maintain some of that defensive shape, find ways to deny us time on the ball. As shit as we've been lately, like I said, I think our offense is always dangerous with the players we have. Maybe not so much now because there's still a lack of cohesion, but there's always a chance with us. But if Villa makes sure they don't give up too much possession, they can probably find a few openings, a few chances with this Liverpool backline and not worry too much about us scoring. Yeah.
I have to say, it's shocking that Emi Martinez is still as consistent in 2025 because Erling Haaland came to that match with a 12-game win streak. He had 2 or 3 great chances, shots on target. One, I think, was a through ball that against any other keeper, that's a goal for Haaland. But Emi Martinez, the brick wall of Argentina, was able to somehow save a 1-0 victory for Aston Villa. And on the other end, Aston Villa's offense has been the complete reversal of what we saw at the start of the season. Was it 4 Premier League games? The first 4 Premier League games, they weren't able to score a single goal?
Right. It was 4 or 5 of them they didn't have one goal in the net. Yeah.
What I do know is that since that point, they have scored in every single game. And the key to that, not only is it their front three coming back, but transition players, man. Morgan Rogers and John McGinn. Their pivots, their ability to take advantage of transition spaces is key in giving them opportunities. And I think with this Liverpool squad, I talked about this tactical issue ad nauseum. They are a team that give up a lot of transition space when they lose the ball.
Yeah, no, we have seen that. And that's the thing. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 match weeks ago where I said until the transfer window, because we couldn't get Gahey, because Leone is injured, we would have to cover up our poor defense with goals, kind of like we did at the start of the season. I don't know. I think that is really how we win here. It's unfortunate though because like attacking hasn't won us our games as of late. So, what strategy does Slot go for here? Does he actually play more defensive, kind of like we did against Palace in the Cup, but with like our main roster instead of what was basically a C team? Or do we actually just try and score against Villa, who, like I said, have a very good defensive structure? It's very difficult.
I will say though, I think we would agree the reason Liverpool has had to slump recently is not because the defense has gotten worse, because the defense was already not that great and was never intended to be that great.
Yeah, they haven't gotten
It's because the attacks have not been on point recently.
Right.
So I just don't think... I'm not sure if there's anything Liverpool can honestly do. Like, you just have to wait for, like, whoever the starting attacker is right now. For now, it's going to be Ekitike, Salah, and Gakpo to start firing again, I think.
Yeah. And that's just what we have to do until December, pretty much, until we can get someone new for that backline. I think the Anfield crowd will give us a nice boost, but I just feel like I have to be more tempered in my predictions for Liverpool right now. So rather than a win, as we have both called for Liverpool for the past few weeks, which has not worked out for either of us, unfortunately, I'm going to have a draw here, and this time it's going to be a 1-1.
Huh?
Yeah?
I thought.
Is that...
Oh, I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw. There's no way he's gonna predict that. He's obviously
I can't have a win here. You know, I had a guy who watches our videos, and he's a classmate of mine, and he messaged me. He's like, "Swapno, you need to stop making these predictions, man." He thinks I'm jinxing the Reds.
You may be jinxing it.
Maybe I am.
Possible.
Maybe I am. So maybe I go for the draw, and we end up with a win, or we end up with a loss, and we're fucked. We're out of the title race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I honestly, I wasn't too much, because I think part of me was going to say a 3-1 win for Liverpool, because I thought, surely, right, Mo Salah, he very much knows what I just said earlier, which is if they lose this game, the title is over. And he is going to go back to peak Mo Salah form, he's going to carry the squad, and he is going to drag them to a win. But then I realized he has not done that this season. I think, I don't want to say washed, but I think he's just not as good as he used to be. And I think it's Emi Martinez, bro. It's Paul Torres, Ezri Konsa, and Emi Martinez. I'm sorry. Like, that's not a team you can just beat around and easily score 3 goals against, even at home. So I'm. It feels wrong, but I'm gonna have to go with a 1-1 draw here.
Yeah. I can only hope that we do find some attacking potential from the guys who really
One
should
more
be
thing, by the
scoring right
way.
now. Yeah.
Another reason why if you lose this game, it's over, right? Because you know who your next two matches after Aston Villa are.
Oh shit!
It's
Actually,
Man
I have
City
not
in
even
the Prem,
checked.
and it's Man
And
City in
is
the
it
Prem and Real Madrid in
man?
the UCL. So
I did see
if
that
I
match.
think if
Yes.
you lose this match, you're gonna lose nine of your. You're gonna have a streak of 9 losses from 10. I'm sorry. If you lose this match, you're gonna lose to United. You're gonna lose to City, and you're gonna lose to Madrid.
Yeah.
So
So what do we even prioritize? Do we try and win the Champions League game? Which, to be fair, is
you
at
got the FA
Anfield.
Cup. You got the FA Cup. I don't.
EFL is already gone. Like I said, we literally played.
Orlando, pretty good.
Who was on our squad? We had like Ramsey, Morrison on the starting roster, and then we subbed in like Nalo, and he got a red card immediately. So we had given up on EFL at that point. I don't know if it's because Arne Slot knows that Crystal
But
Palace are
the
like
Carabao
demon
Cup
for
was the
us.
most important trophy. Was the most
Okay,
important trophy.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Let's not forget.
I know you didn't
I
say
did
that,
not say
but
that.
someone said that.
Right.
I remember someone repeatedly
did
made that claim
that.
on this channel. Man, why do I feel like I've heard that
Some
before? Hmm.
Someone did that. Someone said that, and we proceeded to lose it. So maybe this channel is just really good at jinxing Liverpool. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's good for me. Maybe it's time you guys bring back Brendan Rodgers, honestly. And as a Leicester fan, I can assure you he is quality. So
Okay.
I know you guys don't have the best time with him, but just give him a second chance. You gotta back your manager a little bit.
Okay. Um, crap. West Ham, Newcastle. West Ham. I mean, they've got Nuno now, but they're still like searching really hard for an escape from the
I
drop
think
zone.
they
I
might
don't
not
know what
this
they're
year.
gonna do.
I think
Yeah.
there's nothing they can do. I'm gonna be honest. This feels like
Right.
they're going down Wolves' trajectory at this point because I think if Nuno can't save them, no one can.
I mean, dude, it's a miserable season. They have 4 points from 9 matches, and it's now 6 games in a row without a win. And defensive weaknesses exposed once again, especially in set piece situations. This was an issue at the start of the season, and it is still an issue now. And as I've said before, I think Nuno is good at building defensive teams, and I think defense should be the clear priority here. But it's just not working out. There is not only a lack of consistent attacking threat, but really, I think the big issue still is a lack of strength in the back line. And Nuno just has to find a way to stabilize the back, or they get relegated. I think before they can even think about
Yeah.
scoring.
I,
Yeah.
I mean, this is the issue, right? Because I know Fulcrum is injured as well, so it really just feels like at times either you go offensive, let Jared Bowen cook, and just pray, or you play defensively, and then Jared Bowen doesn't get a lot of touches, and if Jared Bowen doesn't get a lot of touches, this team has zero identity whatsoever. So I don't even know what the right move is at this point for this West Ham squad.
Yeah, I don't even have anything else to say for them, honestly. I don't know what Nuno's to do here. I'm just gonna go to Newcastle then. I mean, um, they've struggled in some of their last games to create like consistent attacking pressure, but their defense is really good. Like Burn, Botman, solid pairing back there. Again, converting like their possession dominance into goals is maybe a bit of an issue, but they're playing
I think Burn
West
actually
Ham.
has to play like as a. I think Burn actually has to play as a fullback now because Livermental and Lewis Hall are still both out.
Right. I mean,
And then you have Fabian Schär in there as well as a good center back, but there's definitely an injury crisis, I would say.
yeah.
For Newcastle.
I think I think there's a good chance they end up underperforming, maybe not even making UCL if this keeps up. But they're playing West Ham, man. Even if they are away, they'll manage. They'll find their chances. I don't think they'll let up too much either because West Ham like they can't attack right now. They have to, like I said, focus on defense if they want a chance at winning. They've got to park the bus. They've got to pull a Burnley here pretty much.
And Newcastle, on the other hand, can attack because yeah, defensive crisis, but Voltemade has been excellent. The midfield has been excellent. I said this earlier in the episode already. This guy has great liquid play. He has amazing anchoring, and Anthony Alanga and the KSI lookalike are incredible. So I just don't Anthony Gordon is his name. Are just absolutely incredible. So I think this honestly Should I just go to predictions? Like, I don't think there's too much to say.
Yeah, that's fine. We can go straight to it.
Yeah, like I'm gonna give West Ham a goal here because I see that because I think Dan Burn having to play left back, combined with the fact that West Ham do have Jared Bowen as the right winger, maybe something comes of that somehow. But Newcastle's midfield and offense are just so much better that they're gonna end up dominating the game, and if Newcastle win this one 3-1.
Okay, well, I guess I can go for the margin play here. I have a 2-0 for them. I think despite some struggles in front of goal, like you have Ultimata, who has been pretty good so far, they've been solid in defense. Guimaraes still there to drive their midfield. And like they'll find ways through because West Ham's backline is not especially strong right now. West Ham's attack, on the other hand, still lacking fluidity. And unless they can somehow make drastic improvements in this one game, they're going to struggle to break down what is, even with the injuries, a still pretty well organized Newcastle defense. So it's going to be a 2-0 Newcastle win for me. I don't see West Ham finding many chances here.
All right, well then that brings us to another interesting matchup. I think this is somehow the top two table, or no, not top two. Sorry, Man City is not. Man City is not.
It's
top.
they're
But
fifth. Bournemouth is second.
Bournemouth are somehow top two right now. I mixed up City and Arsenal in the table, but Man City against Bournemouth, where Bournemouth, if you're gonna go based on the table, are the favorites here, man. What do you think about this?
I mean, the loss to Aston Villa, it is finally exposed in the open a key issue that I'd say has been lingering for a while now, and we've talked about it. It is their inability to break down defenses when Haaland is neutralized. His goal-scoring exploits have been...
To be fair, it was not that Haaland was neutralized, it was Emi Martinez the GOAT.
Okay, that's also...
Yeah, it's not like they've been unable... It's not like they were unable to feed him the ball or anything.
Right. They did... He found his chances, but... I still think like there was just not enough for the other guys. Ultimately, they are still feeding him. And maybe, I don't know, maybe with a bit more variety, they would find something. They could get more chances, perhaps, than they had just banging balls to Haaland the whole time. But like I've said before, without the creativity of Rodri, De Bruyne obviously leaving as well, their attacking rhythm has suffered. And the wingers like Foden, Doku have yet to fully pick up the slack in terms of contributions when Haaland is kind of boxed out in a game. And so like defensively they're still strong, but I think this is the point where City has to diversify their attack. Villa managed to do it. They stopped having to rely so much on Watkins. Bournemouth stopped having to rely so much on Semenyo. City has to do that here as well. Or else I think that like they will have some trouble against Bournemouth because they're on good form.
Yeah. I would say I'm not too worried because, again, like Erling Haaland was still on a 12-goal win streak. Or not 12-goal win streak, sorry, 12 game goal streak. Sorry, coming into that Villa match. And I think he is still that guy. I still don't think there is a way to stop him. Like, even if you know that they're the guy you're feeding the ball to, I'm still not convinced that there's actually a way you can stop Erling Haaland. At the Etihad at least. And whether or not it's him that steps up, or it's, Doku's or Rangers or Foden, who, yeah, they haven't been good enough this season, but we have seen flashes of all of them. Sort of like how with Bournemouth, Semenyo has been consistent this season, and we've seen flashes of Kluivert, Tavernier, and Eli Krupi. As well, by the way, I think Evan Nielsen could be coming back soon for this match, if not for this match soon. I think that Man City are still going to be able to get their goals here, in any case. I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, no. They can at the very least certainly find chances. They are at home as well, so that helps them. Bournemouth, though, the fact that they are like a real threat here playing Man City away is amazing because they've just been so impressive this season with that Areola high-pressing, counter-attacking style. And like I think that win over Forest, though, to be fair, Forest haven't been great lately. It has shown how effective this system can be. They can press high up on the pitch and force mistakes in the opposition's half, which allows their attackers, usually Semenyo, but with the last game, Krupi and Tavernier, to exploit gaps very quickly. And that counter-attacking threat has just been amazing against all sorts of opponents. And against a possession-heavy team like City, it will be everything for them.
Yeah. I will say, though, I'm still a bit worried about Bournemouth's defense, especially for this match. I think they have something like 11 goals conceded, which is not a terrible record, but I think given it's only been 9 matches, you would maybe hope for something better for the team that's
I
in
do
second
think
place.
though, consider as well that 4 of those are from when they played us on the very first match day. So to be fair, they probably
Yes.
have improved quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. But even then, that's still like a goal a game. If even if you consider that essentially,
Yeah, like
and
7 and
like
8. Yeah,
it's more so to say like I think it's more. My point is more so that it's not that that's a bad record by any means, but that doesn't feel like a sustainable record for a team that's in second in the Prem. It is more so my point. And I would say again, like you look at the level of defense you need in order to stop this Man City attack. It was like the type of like a Aston Villa with an Emi Martinez, a Konza, a Torres at home. I don't think Bournemouth's defense is on that level. I think their attack obviously been incredible. Semenyo has been utilized beautifully as a left winger, almost as like a left forward, I should rather say, with how much he's drifting centrally, basically playing the spaces, so to speak. And I don't know. I think it's going to be quite difficult for Bournemouth here.
yeah. And again, City have struggled lately with contributions from players not named Erling, and Bournemouth have been better with that lately since they've had goals from guys like Krupi and Tavernier. Whereas Semenyo actually hasn't scored in I think 2 matches now. But Holland is still consistent, and Petrovic between the sticks for Bournemouth is unfortunately not as good as Emi Martinez. So if Holland does find his chances close up right in front of the goalkeeper, I don't think he's going to make all those saves. And I think maybe City can even fix their over reliance problems here. Maybe we get 1 goal from Holland, 1 goal from someone else. But ultimately, they have a quality roster. They'll shine through here. It won't be easy, but I'll give it a 2-1 win for them.
I'm playing the margin here because I don't know if it's going to be a 2-0 or a 3-1, but I'm going to just go for 3-1 because I could definitely see some minutes as cooking. And I think honestly, 2-0, I think 2-0 is also like just almost as likely because there's also the chance that City's attack isn't as good and Bournemouth struggle to score away from home. But I think just to play the margins, I'm going to go for 3-1 win for Man City.
Okay. Yeah. And then we close off on Monday. We have Sunderland still in the European spots on the table. They're going to look to keep themselves there as they host what I would say is a bit of an on and off Everton side. I don't know who you want to talk about first.
I will say, I mean, Everton hasn't been great as of recent, but it was like, at least it's since this international break, but one of those games, Shaq Grealish wasn't there.
Right
So
against City.
it's like it's kind of I don't want to look too much into this Everton squad offensively speaking. Although obviously we cannot deny Beto is not good enough. Tierno Berry has not stepped up yet. But my where I am continuing to be concerned though is Everton's defense because I think even at the best of times of this season that they've never been able to resolve that issue. And with Jared Branthwaite continuing to be out, that guy not only being just a generally incredible center back, but being their main defense against crosses, any aerial defense in general, doesn't bode well when you're playing at the Stadium of Light against Sunderland.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've honestly not been too bad, like in terms of chances they've given up. But then again, you look at like that Tottenham match, and it was 2 goals given up, like I said earlier, on headers by Van de Ven from corners. And like though that is Tottenham's strategy, you'd hope that they can do a bit more back there on the defense, and they're not letting in 2 of what was practically the same goal in 1 match. So yeah, I guess there are concerns with the back line. I was honestly thinking more about the attack, but like you said, there's been inconsistencies with the roster, so maybe that's somewhat excusable. Still though, Beto, not good. His finishing I don't think improved much at all from the City game. Like he missed a header, failed to control a cross. Um, like Barry hasn't quite stepped up either. They are missing a clinical striker, and so their defense is inconsistent. But also, I don't think they're going to find many goals. Maybe they'll have chances, but I think they're going to keep having finishing trouble. And so Sunderland have been good with scoring, and I just expect that Sunderland will have a much easier time doing so.
Yeah, it's very much fair. They're gonna go for the counter. I think players like is it Omar Alderete if it could if not back for this team could be coming back soon.
Yeah.
Uh, Chris Rigg continues to be amazing. I talked already earlier about how good Granit Xhaka was recently, and I think honestly, without Habib Diarra in the in the roster for now. I think maybe playing more defensively as they did is just the move. Because when you do that, that's maximum utilization of Granit Xhaka's strengths, and now he's going to be that guy for in the midfield for them, right? So I think that is a good potential play. And again, against this Everton squad, who's defensively a bit questionable, you play on the counter, and I think you could potentially get a lot going, especially at home.
Yeah, and these guys are like clinical on the break, or at least they were against Chelsea. Equalizer from a quick
Honestly,
transition.
they were not the most clinical. I feel like they could have gotten more goals against
No?
Chelsea.
Okay. But okay, I will say at least they're good at creating opportunities or taking advantage. Chelsea, like we said, have been a bit iffy, but some like they grabbed the ball off of them many times in that match. And Everton have also been iffy. So at least for this particular matchup, I think they will find a lot of chances to just run at the net, and they might get some one-on-one opportunities here. They do have to, I guess, go up against Pickford, but I mean, Pickford's also not like Emi Martinez. So I think like give Sunderland enough chances. There's no complete brick wall in net. I think they will find their goals. I don't know because it's hard to say with Everton the way that they've been pretty inconsistent as of late. But I think Sunderland's sharp counterattacks should find them at least one goal. Add in a good set piece, maybe they can make it two. But like I'm just gonna say they can push forward through like Inchai and Grealish for Everton, but just with their finishing woes, they're gonna fall short of the goal. And so Sunderland will be the only ones to score here, and I think they take a 1-0 win.
I think I think Everton are going to be able to get a goal because I just think yes, yeah, obviously striker issues, sure, but I think Jack Grealish, I believe in him to get back into form, and I think Ilman and Jai has sort of been able to cover up the mistakes, to cover up the not having a striker issue at times because he basically plays like a Brennan Johnson, right? Like obviously he can do his part, especially before Jack Grealish last season, he was more of the on-ball guy. But he's also really good at cutting in and just being in the right place at the right time. And I think with that, with the quality that we know at Everton have, with the fact that they obviously still have like the Dewsbury Halls, the James Garners, like the players that can get the ball up to them, get them some opportunities. I think they'll be able to get a goal as well. So I'm actually gonna go with 1-1 draw.
Okay, interesting. So I guess we have some different score lines. So for this video, so that'll be interesting for the scoring because it has been kind of like you gain 1 point on me, I gain 1 point on you, and we kind of just go back and forth.
I need to actually get a
Yeah, well,
create some
I think like that Liverpool Villa game. I think or no, wait, no, it wasn't Liverpool Villa. We both had a draw.
It wasn't Liverpool. It was
What's the game? Was it Tottenham Chelsea, the one right before that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting. We both tried to sync each other out with Liverpool Villa, and then we ended up getting the same prediction.
We got the same shit at the very end.
We got the same thing.
Not even
by trying
not even
to
just
avoid
draw.
the same prediction. We got the same
Right.
prediction.
Not even just draw. We got a 1-1 draw for the both of us.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, I guess that's it for this match week. I mean, I think because I said Tottenham v Chelsea could very much be like what we get in the title or the thumbnail, but I guess the other big game is probably.
Let's talk about that off the
Yeah. Okay. Thank you everyone for sticking around. Again, we're trying to keep the videos short, and hopefully you enjoyed, and we will be back for another set of predictions next match week.
All right. See ya.